Good morning. We are live, doing it live Monday. Hope you guys are feeling all right. Hope you had a good weekend. We had a 1,000 point drop this morning. You can see at the bottom there, that shows 17,523. And the reason it shows that is because we are seeing just the New York hours on that daily chart on the bottom. Okay, overnight we bottomed at, I believe it was 16,460. And we have now bounced and we're trying to hold 17,000. So hope you guys are all feeling okay. Listen, as far as volatility like this, I bet a lot of you guys are looking at long-term stuff and not feeling too good about that. These periods are going to come. It's okay. What we really needed was market volatility, and you guys are here, which tells me that you're traders, right? You're active traders. So if you can get some volatility going, have a higher probability with better volatility, right? Of maybe being able to generate some revenue by trading, then you can drive that into the market at cheaper prices. Just don't panic if you can help it. All right. So let's do it here today. Let's see if the market can hold on to 17,000. Obviously, we have some little bit of news here, kind of refreshed news. Trump kind of refreshing the plan to get rid of capital gains tax, at least federal capital gains tax here in 2025. So if that ends up going through, I actually tweeted something this morning. I was thinking about that a lot. And if that ends up going through, which will likely take time if it does, what that would likely mean, at least what I believe that would mean, is we would likely see an influx of traders, maybe similar, maybe not quite as crazy, but probably similar to 2020, the gold rush, right? 2020, maybe a little bit into 2021. We saw a whole lot of new retail traders come into the market, and with no federal capital gains, we'd probably see a whole hell of a lot of people like, you know what, this opportunity's, it's just too good now. I have to at least try. And the difference between now and 5 years ago would be now a lot of you guys I know got in 2020, 2021, 2022, or even later. This time, you would be the one with the experience, not the prey coming in and then all the experienced traders take all your money. This time, you would have the high ground, which is a big deal. Okay, so I'm interested. I hope that goes through. I really hope it does. That would be great for us as traders. But, you know, we'll see. I'm not going to sit here and hang my hat on that. We can just work in the meantime, do our trading. And if it happens, fantastic. And there'll be a whole lot more liquidity pouring into the market for the next 6 to 12 months if we see that occur. So we are 5.5 minutes out from the open. As far as news today, well, as far as headlines, I should say, today is a crazy day. A lot of people trying to predict Black Monday here today, and we're getting a bounce holding 17. Obviously, we're still down about 3%, but we'll see what ends up happening here. As far as headlines today, there's not really a lot. We have a Fed closed-door meeting at 10:30 Central. So we'll see if we get headlines out of that. Again, it's closed, so I doubt we'll get at least immediate headlines out of that. And then we have some Trump stuff in the afternoon, but it's not, I don't think, so immediately relevant to like really driving market volatility. He's just meeting with some people. So that's really about it. As far as that, I mean, we have a Fed speaker at 9:30, but Fed speakers are not moving the market like crazy unless it's Powell. You know, this isn't 2022, so we're not going to see board members moving the market like they were. So their market giving up 17,000. They're very interested to see if we hold 17 or if we end up cracking downside. How you guys doing? I know last week we had evals on Monday turning into a lot of funded accounts by Friday. So what are you guys trading? Are you beefing up the funded accounts? Trade more evals? What are you guys doing here today to start out the week? Yeah, so as far as, I mean, listen, look at the ATR. That range, which is the blue flag at the bottom, for anyone new, I'll keep it contextual. The teal, it's more like teal, right? That right there is the average point range of a 2-minute bar based on the last 10 2-minute bars. Okay, and then the orange one is the range of the current 2-minute bar, and it shows you in real time until it rolls over. Now that is sitting at 56.95, which for pre-market is extremely high. I want you guys to know that. So if we end up seeing ATR pop above 100 off of the open, it would not surprise me. However, you need to know that a week and a half ago, the ATR off the open was like 25, which was obviously problematic for us as traders. Again, still able to hit base hits all week. Well, less, I guess, 2 weeks. But that would be very volatile. And if we start getting over 100 on the ATR, I'm going to have to either wait until 8:45 when that starts to, the range on average starts to peel back down, or I'm going to have to size out my ratio and maybe size down my volume, but we'll see what we can do here. I'll just take the ride with you guys in real time and do our best here today. Zachary, eval still. I blew him up last week. It's okay. Get back on the horse. Steam, just watching today, made some money pre-market on the personal. Good work. Jet, 2 more take profit evals to pass will give me 5. Yeah, man, listen, having 5 take profit accounts, that's an asset. That's a big deal. You know, especially once you get, like with Take Profit Trader, once you get those accounts past the, like the live or the pro accounts, right? Once you get them past that trailing drawdown threshold where you can start taking daily payouts, that's an asset. It starts acting a lot more like a personal account. Obviously, you know, you still have the trailing drawdown, but when you can take daily payouts on 5 Take Profit Pro accounts, that could be a revenue stream. That's a great asset to hold on to. All right, we are a minute and a half, 90 seconds out from the open here. I'm very interested to see. I think we're probably going to see the range on these bars pop up above 100. So listen, if you're trading tight ratios, if you're somebody who trades like 10, 20 point stops on a normal day, and you're planning on trading the open here, maybe think about sizing that out and ratioing down your volume, right? Take smaller size, wider ratios, because you're probably going to get chopped out if you're trading 10 point stops off the open here. So if you look, this is the 5 minute. You can see we're breaking downside, probably taking out a few of these stops heading into the open. Obviously, there's not going to be a tremendous amount, but we are seeing, of course, more trading volume here pre-market, which is normal. On a day like today, it's to be expected. Eric, what about trading ES instead? A bit slower, perhaps. Yeah, you know what? I prefer to stick to one product here. I think there is something to be said in the futures market for getting a feel for a product. As far as, I wouldn't say like getting a feel, like, oh, I'm going to scalp based on feel completely. Again, it's always a mix, I think, of being robotic and discretionary. Most people should start more robotic. Like, okay, I take this setup with this stop, this take profit, and then you slowly inch more into becoming a discretionary trader with robotic rules. And for me, I prefer to just stick to NQ. But absolutely, if you're like, you know what, I'm going to switch to ES today because it's a volatile day, go ahead. Be my guest. Absolutely, nothing wrong with that. There is the bell. Good morning, Lee. Welcome back. How you doing? So again, let's see if we get that range, that orange flag at the bottom of your screen there, up above 100 on these first couple 2-minute bars. That would not surprise me. And that is extremely volatile. So me personally, I'm going to give this market a couple of minutes at least to start developing something here. I prefer to take all my information after the bell, just because I want to see more consistent volume giving me the information that I'm going to take a trade off of. There we are, giving up 16.9. See if we end up giving up 17 here, at least more definitively. Oh, that daily chart. I mean, look at this, guys. So this is just showing the New York session down here. I mean, we're pressing the bottom of the screen here because we're getting 1,000-point gap downs, essentially. I mean, we did have a 1,000-point gap down if you want to include the overnight, because we tested just below 16.5, I believe. Listen, I hope you guys are feeling okay. I know a lot of people I saw over the weekend were not feeling too great as far as investments, mid to longer term stuff. Again, if you're here, you're a trader, and this, for the trading side of you, is a good thing. We're getting volatility, generate more revenue, drive into the market at cheaper prices. That's the idea, right? So if you're not feeling too good, hang in there. Okay, trying to reclaim 17. Again, I'm going to give this market a couple of bars to develop something. See if we end up with a range day, a trend day. That'll determine how I end up trading this here, whether we do limit order reversion scalping, maybe some more aggressive stop limit entry continuation scalping. We'll see what we end up having to do. Let the market come to us and trade what it gives us. Yeah, see that, guys? We're getting that 130-point bar here. So we're creeping up over 100 on the range. Again, you have to consider that. You should be paying attention to range. If you're somebody who's like, I just trade 10-point stops every day, that's not going to work the same today as it does on a 25 range day, right? So you got to pay attention. And if you need to, widen out, but don't forget to lower your volume. If you widen out, keep the dollar amount risk the same. Keep it consistent. You don't want to be taking the same setup, and on one setup you're risking, you know, $500, and on another setup you're risking $2,500 because you're widening out the stops. A lot of institutional orders going to be here off the open. Can't really decide what to do here. They can't. What I'm doing is I'm waiting a couple minutes here, see what we develop. This is a really wide range here. I mean, we're looking at over a 100-point range. Nearly 150 on that last 2-minute bar. Appreciate you, Christopher. Good to see you back. You know, I recognize, like, all your guys' names. I recognize you in the chat. It's kind of funny. Every day. Love it. All right, this market needs to make a decision here around 16.9. And then ultimately 17 is the big tier 1 level that we're kind of sitting around right now. Again, early in the day, priority number 1 is what, right? Determine what kind of day we're going to have, at least for the first, like, third of the day. It can change midday. And what I mean is range or trend, okay? Having to scalp a channel is very different than trading continuation in a trend. At least it's the way that I trade. All right, so first thing on the agenda always is to try to determine what we're looking at here, at least for the morning time. What's up, John? Welcome back. Boring Trader, welcome back. How you doing? Look at the 5-minute. Kind of testing this downside wick. Obviously, a few stops taking it out, pushing it below, and now retesting. That's very common to see. The next area as far as liquidity would be down here with stops. Down below like 16,740-ish. These pre-market levels, in very low volatility environments, there's not going to be a lot of stops just because there wasn't a lot of trading activity, right? But when we're seeing a day like today, we can expect a lot more traders got up real early this morning and started setting stops. And here is going to be a zone where you get them, maybe good for a, I don't know, in this case, maybe a 10-point move, which is more consistent with after the open. However, today, seen a lot of activity, obviously. Brian, Nico, I looked into the 5% drawdown rule for TPT, but now I am more confused. What I found is the CME sets drawdown daily limits, but they have 3 different drawdown limits, 7%, 13%, and 20%. Those are circuit breakers, Brian. That's when the market itself actually can get caught in what's called a halt. You don't want to be caught in one of those. That's not common, by the way. So if the market itself gets, like the Nasdaq, gets caught in a circuit breaker, that's a big deal, because that doesn't happen that often. The 5% drawdown rule for take profit trader. By the way, I was very clear. I never said that I was even certain it was in play, so to speak, because I never received an email. I never got an email. We dipped below 5% 2 days in a row. They never sent me anything. For all I know, it's not even a rule. However, there were quite a few people in the chat saying, yep, I just got an email from Take Profit Trader. So personally, with pro accounts, I don't want to risk the pro accounts, because a pro account at Take Profit Trader is quite the asset to hold on to. It just wasn't worth risking until I had more clarification on what's up with that rule. Because again, 5% down days are not all that common. So it's not like this rule is top of the rules list for really any prop firm, because it doesn't happen that often. And yeah, we did see that last night. So, and I again, 3rd day in a row, I never got an email. So perhaps Take Profit doesn't care. To me, Thursday and Friday, though, it just wasn't worth the risk. So once we saw that, I just traded the Apex accounts. Big old move downside here. We're still not at 840, so letting this develop. However, it looks like we may be seeing the beginning of what may end up being a little bit of a trend morning. However, it's very, very aggressive here. And here we're getting a test. That region we were just talking about. 16,740, probably some stops in that region. Let's see if those get taken out. Worthy Gains, appreciate you, brother. What's up? Hey, Wrench cleared 250% yesterday alone. Even though I trade crypto, it's still great insight over here. Well, welcome. Everyone's welcome here. Scooby, options are going to be through the roof today. That's going to be some IV pump. Makes them more expensive. If you're trading options today, you need to understand the Greek Vega. It's going to make those babies real expensive. If you're selling options, you also need to understand that, because that's probably going to be what's driving any profits or potential losses if we end up seeing more volatility here. Okay, so you look at the 2-minute chart here, guys. What is that, right? You guys have been here for a few days. You should kind of know what I'm looking at. Well, we're getting attempts at growing bear bars, and then the bear bars start to shrink. And now we get this bull kind of reversal candle, right? That's not a signal of like, I need to buy that into weakness. At least not for me, okay? If you wanted to take a lower probability, higher reward to risk trade, you can absolutely take that. But what that means to me is that the bulls are attempting in that moment to reverse it, and now they're being disappointed. So we'll see if the bears end up clearing that wick, and then I'm looking here. If you get it clear of that wick, now you're looking at stops, which is probably good for another 10-point move, but only if the bears can clear that wick, because then you get some stops triggering, pushing downside. And now, ultimately, what's the next stop on the agenda? Well, the bears at that point are kind of looking for lows. That's just the truth. So it doesn't mean they're going to get them, but worth considering there. Yes, please, guys. Trading today, please make sure you're managing your risk. Offload it to the computer if you need to. If you want to manage risk manually, you got to make sure that you are level-headed all the time. But listen, it's just easier to offload that responsibility to the computer. The computer doesn't get emotional. And today is an emotional day, and I know a lot of people are coming into today already feeling emotional. So if that's you, you got to understand that. Maybe make a slight adjustment. Make sure your risk is managed. You don't want to make it worse by running no stop loss today when normally you do. Or, you know, if you're not in your right frame of mind, state of mind, and you normally trade manually managed risk, it's really easy on a day like today to let that push from, you know, maybe you risk 30 points a trade. It's really easy to let that go to 50. Okay, there you go. There's a breakdown side through that wick. Taking out a few of those stops here on the 5-minute. Again, a little more liquidity than normal is going to be below these little curls, just because more trading activity in the morning. We're now into about in the early 8:40s Central Time, so it's time for me to start looking for setup potential. Those institutional orders off the open have now cleared. I'm gonna give that time here in the morning because a lot of those orders are not going through necessarily for an intraday mentality. They're going through for, you know, a week out, 3 weeks out, 3 months out. So that's not really relevant to me looking for some kind of intraday edge. So now it's a lot more intraday mentality. Obviously, you still have institutional, longer-term ideas, more mid-term ideas mixed in, a lot of the volume. But we now have a slightly higher ratio compared to the open of intraday ideas, which is what I'm interested in trading. So we'll see if we can get some kind of sequence here. This is looking to me, obviously, like I mean, Steam said it right. This is a little bit of a capitulation open, but real capitulation looks far worse than this. I know this looks bad, but compared to the recent volatility we've seen, this is not real capitulation yet. We're just getting definitely a trend environment off the open much more than a range. Which tells me I gotta start doing what the market tells me and look for continuation setups, sequences. So I'm looking for consecutive bear bars. Growing, not shrinking. Or the same size if we get that first bear bar large, like we saw there after that attempt at a bull reversal. So, you know, now you see, right? Attempt at a bull reversal. The bulls get disappointed. We close down here near the low, but inside of that wick. Now, we wick down, we get a shrinking body. Okay, what does that tell us? We're not reading, you know, tarot cards here. What does that tell us? In reality, what is that? Well, that's the balance between the buyers and sellers changing compared to this bar, right? Either some buyers stepped in, sellers stayed the same, or buyers stayed the same, some sellers stepped out, or both. Likely a little bit of both. And now you get the attempt at the bull reversal. We'll see if they can follow through on that. Man, look at that fade. It's a 500-point move in the last 45 minutes. Yes, I'm on the lookout for good, clean continuation setups. With futures in particular, I'm not... There are different market environments, okay? We talked about this, but there's range days and there are trend days. When the market is really locking in a trend day, which by the way, we haven't really locked in here yet, but it's looking like we may end up seeing that, or a descending channel, or we'll see what the market gives us here. Here the bulls attempting to take it back upside. I'm not a big fan of saying, well, you know, the Nasdaq's already down 4%. There's a good continuation setup, but I'm going to hold off because the market's already down 4% and we're probably going to bounce. That's not staying dumb, right? That's not doing what the market tells us. And with futures, I think that's especially important, which, by the way, also goes for channel scalping. If we see some kind of descending channel formation begin, well, then shorting at the low of that very obvious channel, the more obvious it becomes, the more relevant this is, right? Shorting at the low of that is probably not a great idea because what's everyone looking at? They're looking at the channel. And you're going to get a whole lot of buyers coming in, buying the bottom of the channel, and a lot of sellers taking profit at the bottom of the channel. This is all just a self-fulfilling prophecy. TA is not magic. There are no magic indicators. Just give me the information the market's providing, and I'll make, 55% probability decisions, so to speak, with a 1-to-1 reward to risk. Obviously, that changes when you change reward to risk. But when I think I have a few percent edge, put on the trade, accept the outcome, and be done. Move on to the next. That's trading. So here, big bounce. You see, testing the 2-minute, the 20 EMA on the 2-minute. I just use that for context, by the way. I never trade just off an EMA. Again, it's not quite relevant enough, especially on the 2-minute. How many people are really trading off the 20 EMA on the 2-minute? Well, less than are actually trading off the 20 EMA on the 5-minute. And even the 5-minute isn't quite relevant enough, right? So I just used it for context, but here we are getting a test. I'm also open, by the way, to a true reversal sequence. But for a reversal sequence to actually cause me to enter, I need 3 consecutive bars. Whereas if I'm trading with trend for continuation, I'll take a 2-bar sequence for continuation. Listen, guys, while we wait for something good here, if you haven't yet, please press like on the stream. Helps out a lot. Even just a few people, it really does. Appreciate you guys doing so. All right, here we are, pressing through that 20 on the 2, making an attempt here. The bulls really forcing those steppers out of the way. Let's see if they can get a continuation. Again, we may end up seeing a larger range descending channel, but I need my 3 touch points. Remember, we talked about 17,000, right? Here we are, making a new test to 17,000, just about. Also, keep in mind, though, here on the 5-minute, that 20 EMA on the 5 is at 17,000 approximately right now. So I'm also paying attention there. Yeah, we're seeing that range really creep upside. The range on this last bar, 170 points. That bar there, I believe, I may be wrong considering Thursday and Friday, but I'm pretty damn sure that bar there was the highest range bar we've had in the last 3 weeks. At least top 3. All right, bulls still trying to take this for continuation. Again, I don't take continuation until I get at least a clean 3-bar sequence. That ATR now though is at 90. High. Right now, again, if you're new here, when I say ATR, I mean the average range, point range per 2-minute bar based on the last 10 2-minute bars. That's really creeping up. Again, this time a week and a half ago, that ATR that's currently at 90 was 23 maybe. So this is definitely an improvement. As traders, we want volatility. Again, don't be scared to lower your volume and widen out your ratios if you need to. 10-point stops on a day like today. Come on, man. It's going to get chopped up. All right, 37 seconds out from the close of this 2-minute bar. However, you see this? We're currently making a move right around that 20. Not only the 20 on the 2-minute, sorry, the 20 on the 5-minute, but 17,000. That's a tier 1 level. Okay, so we'll see how this bar closes. Then the rollover becomes very important to me. All right, 5 seconds out from the rollover of this 2-minute. There you go. You get a pullback back beneath. Look at that. You get a pullback back beneath 17,000 and back beneath the 20 on the 2. It's common to see. Nico, do you have any videos describing your tier level criteria? I don't think so. I can make one if you guys would like me to. I'll be putting out more content to more in-depth describe what we talk about here on the stream. I think that'd be helpful. All right, 1:10 out from the close of this 2-minute. I'm becoming more and more interested in this reversal sequence. Again, those of you guys who bought that, like, just for context, you could have bought this bull attempt at a reversal, which is low probability, but very high reward to risk. I mean, you stop yourself out at the breakdown side of the wick, maybe. And if you're still holding, you just, I mean, huge reward to risk, but the probability is very low. That's the trade-off. Okay, now I look for a little bit more of a balanced, good reward to risk, like 1-to-1 maybe in a situation like this, but I want higher probability because I'm not getting that crazy reward to risk necessarily. Okay, 24 seconds out from the close. See how this bar closes here. But 17.1 is going to be a tier 3 level. I'll attempt to buy that rollover. Limit order sitting out, no fill. There we are. We are in all the accounts, and I'm just buying the rollover there. Obviously coming into 17.1, we have, I believe, the overnight open sitting in that region. Currently 15 points in the money. Entry 17.101. Target 17.141.50. And stop down at 17.061.50. Take a look at this 5-minute chart. You guys see that there? And here's the 2-minute. Gives you a nice look. All right, just give me a push up to 17.141.50. Only about 10, 15 points in the money. It's very volatile here. 25, 30 points in the money. And there we are, fully out there for our first trade of the day and a winner. Here we go. I think that's, what is that? I don't know, 14, 1500 bucks so far on the day. Let me do some math. $14.9650 is what we're currently up after that trade. See what else we can grab. Steam, I think 1-to-1 risking 0.5% is a great starting point for beginners. I would have to absolutely agree with you. I think that's a wonderful starting point for beginners especially. INF, we are winning. We have been winning last couple of weeks. Good base hit days. Man, look at this push. Look at the 5-minute chart. We're really coming into this curl. You see that? Probably plenty of stops. They're not going to be super consolidated now, okay? But there are probably plenty of stops, I would think, between about 17,250 and 17,300. So that 50-point range, kind of watching as an area of interest. But again, they're going to be more spread out because we're also talking pre-market levels now. See this on the 2-minute as well. The stop, again, looking for stops between 17,250 and 17,300. So I'm really still kind of looking for the same continuation sequence setups. We're gonna push up through 250. See if we can get a push through 17.3. Again, I'm sitting flat right now currently. One trade so far on the day. Why the 40-point take profit and stop loss versus 30 or 50? What's your logic? You know what? There's no magic number. To me, it's discretionary based on volatility of the setups and the ATR. And really, that can switch. That can switch to on a crazy day. I feel comfortable with 40 today. But on a really whippy day, I might really size down if I can go any lower. Sometimes I'm just trading a single micro in some of the accounts. And widen that out to 60. Or take it into 20. I'm not going to go like 5 and 5. You know, I think 5 10-point stops are a little tight. You can take profit at 5 or 10 points if you're going really negative reward to risk. But 40 has been working well, so it's really arbitrary. There's the push through 17.3. Goodness, look at this. All right, now again, still looking for the same continuation sequence that we took on the last trade. About a minute 20 out from the close of this 2-minute bar. The range on this, look at this. What'd we say? That ATR is at 98.5. What'd we say before the market opened? Would not surprise me to see that ATR creep up over 100. And we might just see that here. This is nuts. All right, 60 seconds out from the close of this bar. And there you go, getting that big wick back downside. If we want to talk about New York close, back on Friday, we're kind of talking about 17.5. Maybe just above 17.5. We're kind of looking at that region. Okay, 20 seconds out from the close of this 2-minute bar, and we're getting a big bear wick back down. So obviously not looking like continuation here, at least for me on this bar. But you can see here, we had some shrinking bull bars. See that? And then we come into this. Very, very common sequence when the other side is trying to reverse. Doesn't mean they're going to be successful. Bear's trying to take it below that previous bar, right? You see these two wicks? Very common. These things just repeat themselves. It's so common to see this. Shrinking bull bars, reversal candle, attempt. Then you get that attempt at breaking the low of the previous bar, that shrinking bar coming in. If you can break below that, oftentimes you'll see the rollover make a continued push to the next obvious level, which in this case to me would be probably the EMAs. But this here is a big deal. If they can't, if the bears can't get it below there, that means the buying pressure is still reasonable. Just a balance. There's no magic here. All right, 30 seconds out from the close of this 2-minute here. Give you a look up top. Bear is still trying to take it below the wick of that previous bar. There they go. Let's see if we get it closed near the low. Again, with reversals, I need to see at least a 3-bar sequence for me to take any kind of entry. Brian, passed an Apex eval on that run-up. I appreciate your help. I've passed 2 evals in 2 weeks with your help and trying to pass for many months. I've learned a lot. Good to hear, Brian. Keep it up. Now you treat those funded accounts with respect. Size down, take it easy. The payout will come before you know it. All right, now you guys see that? Now what happened here? If we had gotten a close near the low of this bar, below this wick, that tells us a lot of different information than wicking back upside and closing inside of this wick. In my opinion, the bulls kind of won this bar because we already had the reversal sequence coming in. Now, had the sellers, 10, 20 points can make a huge difference. You get a close down here. Then all of a sudden, the sellers have taken that bar. Omar, what's the best size trading MNQ in 350K funded accounts in the current market? Well, you're not going to like my answer. The reality, though, is the best size is the one that gives you the average hold time per funded account that is in your business plan. Right? A business plan for prop trading should have 3 things. It should have how much you're willing to invest, maybe per month, how long you want to hold on to your average funded account, because the answer is not going to be forever. You'll never get to payouts. You're not trading aggressively enough. So you're over time, you're going to go through some accounts. It's just part of the game. The rules are set that way, but you want to be in the middle of the bell curve. Okay, so is the answer, well, I'll go through a set of accounts every 2 weeks, which is very aggressive, or every 5-6 months, which is not as aggressive. Okay, and then the third portion of the business plan is, well, how much revenue do I want to generate compared to my investment per month or per quarter or whatever. So, but for me, I am trading, to give you a real answer and not some bullshit, I'm trading in, I have 2 Take Profit Pro accounts that are 150Ks, and in those right now I'm trading 4 micros with 40-point stops and take profits currently, though that changes. Listen, guys, appreciate you hitting like on the stream. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Well, I'm back, and none of you guys let me know in the chat that this just happened, so I appreciate that. Look at that bar. 230 points on the range, and we're not even 3/4 of the way through the bar yet. That's wild. That's a big move. Look at this. Look at the 5 minute. That's crazy. You still plan to put out that eval account trading video you mentioned last week? 100%. Haven't had a chance to trade any evals, or didn't get one last week, but I will probably this week. That video will go out. Just be a demonstration on how I trade evals. Okay. Wow. Wow, I can't believe that. Look at that. Look at all this bar is just putting all these bars to shame. My God. This is a data error here. See that? Ninja Trader's having data problems. Maybe that's rhythmic, actually. But here, this is what the 2 minute should look like right now. Yeah, those data errors like that, guys, if you're seeing that, just know, like, the bar didn't roll over is the problem here. Here's what it should look like. If you're seeing that, understand that data in the market, all the markets, glitches get dispersed to, like, everybody who gets, because there's only a couple sources to get data from. So when a wrong news headline or bad candle data goes out, it goes out to, like, a lot of platforms. There's, I hate to say monopoly, but like there's kind of a monopoly on financial data, really. Holy sh! 18,000. Look at this move. We were just talking about, is 17 gonna hold? I'm gonna disconnect my copy trader just in case, because Rhythmic is having problems. If I were you guys, I'd probably do the same until this works itself out, because we're having a big data issue. This is... what a move. I'm getting... yeah. Are you guys... I'm seeing different prices. Look at this. Look. There, now it's starting to catch up a little bit to each other. This happened on Friday, but it worked itself out pretty quick. Usually it's a rhythmic problem. Yes, there are data errors going on all around right now. Tradeovate, Rhythmic, and or Ninja Trader, whichever one it may be. So take it easy for the next couple minutes if you're seeing data problems. You don't want to get caught in a position and not know what the price is. Okay, there, we're seeing it catch up a little bit, but still we're seeing differences. You guys see this? 174 set like 80, right? That's wrong. Again, if you're seeing errors like I am right now, it's going to go out all over the market for the next few minutes. Hold off. This move is overloading the data providers. Which, by the way, when this happens, this is unacceptable. I mean, to have a data problem, I mean, look. Ninja Trader is showing me 17.9. I'm sorry. Thinkorswim is showing me 18, almost 2. Ninja Trader, 17.9. Look at this. The volatility is too much. Market can't even, or I mean, these data providers can't even handle it. Holy shit. You don't want to be in a position and not know what your price is. So this isn't a me problem. This is a data provider issue. I'm sure you guys are probably having problems like this right now. I would hold off personally. I'm seeing a 200 to 300 point difference depending on where I'm looking. This is insane. Look, 300 point difference. Yeah, headline a couple minutes ago. White House senior advisor Trump is considering a 90-day pause on tariffs aside from China. Holy, I don't think I've ever seen a reversal this crazy in real time. What I was going to say, by the way, was this is unacceptable. Look at the difference in data. Look at this. We're seeing a 100 to 300 point difference in quotes, depending on where you're looking. Unacceptable. Especially when you have that kind of move. I know some of you guys probably made a ton of money on that move. You could see someone make millions and millions of dollars on that one move alone. I'm sure people probably just did. But when you have data errors, that's unacceptable. Look at this. This is the same chart. 2-minute chart. 2-minute chart. Scott, made my weekly goal on a data error. I keep refreshing my Ninja Trader screen to see if I'm stuck or something. There we go. Look, data's fixing itself. You see that? This happens. Didn't even have to refresh anything. It's starting to fix itself. So we'll see if that holds. That move fried the data providers. Okay, we're starting to see continuity here in the prices. Very good. I think we're getting back to normal here. Cannot believe this move. Look at this. Holy shit. A nearly 1,700 point move in a half hour. Wow. Wow, I wonder if that move's going to cause some problems for some of these props. I bet you have some people who just, on accident even, made a ton of money. This is, I don't even know what to say. I don't know if I've ever seen a 1,700 point move like that. Aside from a straight up crash, I mean, especially to the upside. Going from seeing 5% down pre-market to, I mean, we flashed, what, 4% in the green? 1,700 points on the Nasdaq in 30 minutes. That was something. Data looks like it's pretty much fixed, by the way, so that's good news. I think it's safe if you want to start dipping your toe in again. I need to wait for a sequence here, personally. Yeah, that consistency rule is going to protect a whole lot of firms today, prop firms. But props that don't have a consistency rule, oh man, I don't know. They're probably checking all their accounts and seeing what the balances are at today. That might cause problems for some of these props. Oh, Jeremy, I know it. I know it. Last week, maybe 8 trading days ago, volatility was it was just sad. It was so low. We were seeing average true ranges of like 12 at this time of day. Look at the ATR now. Now, part of this is going to be a data error, so it's going to mess up the ATR, but we're seeing like a 200-point average true range, which is the absolute highest I have seen it in recent memory. That's something else. Now the question becomes, oh my goodness, do we see a full-blown round trip? Well, here we are coming back into the 20 EMA on the 2-minute. See the look there. Now the 20 on the 5 is going to be a couple hundred points at least lower. There's the 2 making the test right now as we speak. Nearly 1,000-point fall in the last 6 or 7 minutes. You guys need to help out Danny Freedom in the chat here. Wow, this is quite a move. I cannot believe the range on this. Look at that ATR, 232. Now again, we had a data error. It's going to mess with the average on that first bar especially. That one, we ended up seeing a 500-point range. But I mean, holy shit. Look at this. Giving up the 20 on the 2-minute and coming in now for a test. Again, it's still like 100, 200 points away, but a test of that 20 EMA on the 5. Give you the full look here. So the Fed closed board meeting is at 10:30. That's in about an hour from now. Here we are, just so you know, we're testing that 20 EMA on the 2-minute. That Fed meeting is, I doubt we're going to get real-time headlines out of the Fed meeting, because again, it's closed. it's like one of those meetings they have in a movie. Like Wall Street, too. You know, they have the closed-door meeting. I doubt we're going to get the real-time headlines, but we might get some stuff later, but it's probably going to hit at random times. So I'd keep that in mind. Again, that meeting is happening at 10:30. That's an hour from now, 10:30 Central. Okay, market trying to hold the 20 here on the 2-minute. Again, I'm still looking for some kind of continuation sequence, but we're now getting a doji. Bulls trying to take this back higher. Holding that for now. We'll see if we end up needing to make a test of the 20 EMA on the 5. Bulls trying this reversal here. Again, you should know that we don't know if that 90-day pause on tariffs aside from China, we don't know if that's actually going to be... I mean, it came from the White House senior advisor. We don't know if it's actually going to go through. We've seen fake headlines before, but I think this is more like a market took it very literally, and now we're kind of seeing a, well, we don't actually know for sure. I'm still seeing little differences in the data between Rhythmic / NinjaTrader and Thinkorswim. Little differences, maybe 25 to 50 point differences. So when we're seeing data errors like that, it's really tough to put trades on. Be careful out there, guys. These data problems, by the way, are not just going to be on my end. They're probably screwing with you right now as well. The data gets pushed from one source to a whole lot of sources, so you guys are probably seeing problems too. Oh man, we went from down 5% pre-market to up 4%. We're now sitting, look at this, break even. Testing the 20 EMA on the 2-minute chart. We're within 60 points of break even right now. We'll see if we continue back downside. Again, I think traders are starting, and institutions mainly, are really starting to question that headline. The 90-day pause on tariffs, right? We'll see if that ends up actually being confirmed, at least as an idea here. And obviously, we don't know if that's going to get confirmed in reality here today, but the market's going to move more on ideas. Lee. Yes, Rhythmic disconnected from my NinjaTrader and it won't even reconnect. So if you're trading Rhythmic accounts, be careful right now. We're having lots of Rhythmic problems and Trade Evade. I've heard Trade Evade problems too, so that's both what I'm using. So we'll see if this gets fixed here. Again, now we're seeing differences again here. And that's Rhythmic data coming through NinjaTrader. And here's Thinkorswim. We're seeing differences in price. Just 5-10 points here, then it jumps to 30-point differences. Before, we were seeing 300-point differences between the two. It's not that bad anymore, but it's definitely not fixed yet. It's getting better, though. This is something to see, man. What a historic move. 1,700 points in 30 minutes. And now in 12 minutes, less than 15 minutes, we're seeing a 50% retracement. Keep an eye on this 50% retracement, by the way, guys, because a lot of times what you see is shorts. Think about it logically, right? Shorts entering on this move as we pop. You have shorts betting against it, and they get completely steamrolled. You're going to get people averaging in, right? And now here, what does this mean? Buying pressure, shorts closing at break even. So those of you guys who are new, one trade so far on the day, we're setting up 1,500 bucks. That was before all this craziness ensued. We traded the rollover, I believe it was this bar, got long on this, on the rollover of this bar into this bar. This is something else. Market right now, again, moving on that comment from the White House senior advisor that Trump is mulling over a 90-day pause on tariffs aside from China. Obviously, that's a very big deal. 90 days to the market is an eternity, so we'll see if that ends up getting confirmed. Market made the move on that headline, 1,700 points. Well, the actual headline move, obviously about 50% of that, but we made a 1,700 point move in 30 minutes and now a 50% retracement in less than 15. So be careful. We're seeing data issues, differences in price across platforms. So right now I'm waiting for that to clear up. Rhythmic is having issues. Trade-Evade is having issues. So we'll see if that really gets cleared up before I want to put anything else on. And then we'll also, again, as far as whether this gets confirmed or denied that this is actually a real thing Trump's looking at implementing in the short term, we'll probably get some kind of either confirmation or denial here. And I would assume in the next hour. We'll see. All right, yeah, Scoop. Yeah, right. Yeah, I'll walk away for 2 minutes and we'll have a 2,000 point move in 10 minutes. I mean, this has got to be some kind of a scramble headline, right? I mean, you have to understand, like, the politics behind this. You have a lot of people who don't necessarily understand the economics or how the market dynamics going to work. They just see a market crash, and obviously they don't like that. So maybe a little bit of damage control going on with the 90-day pause on tariffs. Again, I'm curious to see if we get confirmation there. We've seen fake headlines in the past, but this would be a very, very big fake headline if it were. I'm not convinced it is. I think the market's just worried that it's not going to happen quickly, more so. This is a crazy day, guys. If you wouldn't mind, hit like on the stream if you haven't already. It really helps out tremendously. I appreciate it. I left my coffee out there. Oh, man. All right, if I leave and we see a 1,000 point move, I want all caps on the chat. I'll keep an eye on the chat. Don't you worry. I'll be back in 15 seconds, like the wind. All right, there it is, the downside test of those wicks. You see that? See if we can get a breakdown side through. There's the attempt. There's some stops getting triggered. Oh my. Headline, White House tells CNBC that the 90-day pause on tariffs is fake news. Holy shit, it was fake. A headline, oh my God, we just saw, all right, what did we see there? So the headline hit here, right? This is something else. The headline hits here. We get approximately an 1,100 point move in less than 10 minutes, and then a full round trip on a fake headline. Wow, that must have been engineered. I can't believe that. Somebody just made a lot of money illegally. Can you guys believe that? Holy shit. Yeah, really, biggest heist of the century. That move was insane. I wonder, where'd they get that headline? And who released that first? I mean, whoever released that can now do more than retire. They can retire the next 6 generations. What a move. I can't believe that. It's actually fake. When you get a headline like that, the chances that a headline coming from a White House senior advisor actually getting through and then being confirmed fake, that's rare. Usually it's debunked instantly. That took time. That allowed an 1,100 point move in the Nasdaq. The headline was that Trump was mulling over a 90-day pause on tariffs, except for China. Which I think that last part made it semi-believable. Pushed the Nasdaq 1,100 points in the money, or green, I should say, compared to before the headline. And now the White House is confirming it was fake news. This is something else. Okay, so we're now seeing a fade and an attempt here. This flat bottom, that's where we're currently sitting. You can see we now broke on the 5-minute, that 20 EMA. Gave it up on the 2-minute a while ago. It's insane how one headline can wreak such havoc on the market like that. Somebody just got very, very rich in about 10 minutes. Or somebody very rich or an institution got even richer in about 10 minutes. That was something. So now it becomes a question of, okay, when does the data correct itself? Because it's still... It's a lot better now. It's pretty damn close. I'm still seeing little differences, like little millisecond differences of 10 points in price between Rhythmic / NinjaTrader and Thinkorswim. So it's not perfect yet, but it's a hell of a lot better than it was. We were seeing 300 point differences. Oh, that's something else. All right, there's the retest. See the 5-minute? retesting the 20 EMA as we speak. Did Trump confirm on Twitter? Seems he may have. Got a headline, but it was kind of confusing. Let's see if he actually confirmed. Well, either way, the White House did say that the White House senior advisor did not say that. So that was engineered. You know, the crazy thing about that is that probably nothing will come from it. Even though it should not be all that difficult to determine who is behind that headline. Obviously, they wouldn't have released. We can all agree that that's pretty obvious. The market was going to move at least 500 points. We ended up getting 1,100 points of movement off that headline. And perhaps whoever was behind that had a high degree of certainty they could get away with it, because that is quite the heist. We're using NinjaTrader 8. My God, look at this. This daily bar, this is just showing the New York session. Market's been open for 1 hour and 13 minutes. And the range on this is what, 1,700 points? At least 1,600 points. Almost 1,700 points is the range on this daily bar just for the New York session. That is something. All right, here we go. Reclaiming the 20 EMA on the 5. Attempting to do so, testing on the 2-minute, the 20 EMA there as well. Well, the data is... I'm still seeing like little quarter-second delays between Rhythmic / NinjaTrader and Thinkorswim, but it's pretty damn close. So I'm gonna leave the copy trader disconnected for now, and then once we get a sequence setting up for me to trade, then I will reconnect it and look to put that on, which I'm comfortable doing now because the data is getting a lot cleaner. We get that big data error for at least 15 minutes. Gonna get a whole lot of people making and losing a lot of money today. Now, you look at the 2-minute chart, right? So you know what I'm thinking. Do we end up breaking out of this early development channel, which we have about 2 touch points on either side right now? If we maintain this channel, then it's time to channel limit order reversion scalp, right? Channel scalping. If we see a breakout, back to continuation. I'm not really biased to one or the other today. Just do what the market tells me. Scooby, 1,700 from 4 accounts today. Good work. There's the second touch point of that channel. We'll see if we end up giving that up. In order for that to really become, I would need to see a good, ideally a lower low in this sequence get put in. And then that would become the third touch point on the downside. And then I would need to see a lower high get put in. And then all of a sudden that channel is set. But right now it's early for that channel. I made $17.35 on my take profit trader eval. I'm over 50%. Should I lose money to get to $14.99 first day? Used code BIG. Some people will do that. Some people will try to like lose the spread or something. But you know, you can end up making it worse. Believe it or not, you can accidentally end up making money. So, you know, personal decision. If you want to just lock it up and come back and accept the fact that the profit target is now going up, I think that's cool too. Otherwise, you could try to quickly like lose the spread or something, but that's not a certainty at all. Taylor, max profit on all accounts. Yes, today has been a crazy day. Just waiting for this channel to see if we end up developing here. Otherwise, if we end up back breaking out of this channel, yeah, I mean, you guys see what I'm looking at, right? This, 2 touch points, really need 3 touch points. This channel here, kind of a descending channel. Otherwise, if we end up breaking out of that, I'll go right back to scalping continuation. Shay, welcome back. What's up? What's your views on the spreads today? Yeah, you know, you got to be a little bit careful, but with futures, the spreads are going to stay relatively tight regardless, but with crazy volatility, you know, if you're someone who's trading big size, like multiple minis in a prop account, if you do end up catching some kind of weird spready fill, I mean, you could lose 10, 20 points. So you want to be careful and keep that in mind. I mean, in addition to what you plan to lose, right? So ideally limit orders today if you can help it. But that being said, with my copier today, I am running market only. I don't want to, well, but I'm also not trading the crazy volatility, right? I'm letting things develop. The ATM copy strategy, I imagine, would have a higher probability of causing issues today, which I'm not looking to have problems today. Turbo, what's up, brother? Nico, does that fake out screw up all technical analysis? Nope, just resets things. Just resets. I'm just looking, okay, do we get continuation sequences? Do we get channel setups? Once we get more and more data, that fake out kind of becomes irrelevant in a way. Now you guys see this, right? We're gonna see some traders viewing this as having a little bit of potential. So I'm just curious about that. If we end up getting a continuation sequence, like you get this bull bar, this one closes above that level, we get a rollover, and then a strong bull bar closing at its high, all of a sudden I'm buying that. But here, still very early in that sequence, not enough information. This could very end up just being a channel, and then I'll scalp the channel, which means 2 separate directions, so I gotta wait until I have a little bit more information, at least 2 more minutes. Respecting that trend line for now. See if that holds. Yeah, this market can't quite decide yet here, right? I think people are looking at this as, well, it's kind of like the 3rd touch point. Do we respect that? Personally, I would love to see us break out. Just give me a nice sequence, and then I'll buy the rollover of the clean entry bar, whichever bar that happens to be, if we see that. Watch this. These little wicks up here, right? Few stops, gonna be up there for sure. Probably not good for a, 15, 20 point pop instantly, but maybe at least 5, 10 points on the break through those stops. You have 17.7, tier 3 level. There's the stops getting taken out. Plus a little bit. Close of this bar in 1:15. Very interested in this sequence here. We'll see if we get it. You think prop firms will make it right for the traders who were in trades and were rolled by that data error? I don't, so luckily I wasn't trading. Just curious what you think. With market-wide data errors like that, I mean, that would be a lot to clean up. Probably not. I would hope that they would, though. But I think a lot of times it's like, well, it's not really our problem. But in this case, it kind of is their problem, because if you're partnered with Rhythmic, it kind of is your problem. So I would hope that they would. I think this has happened in the past, and I have heard of like Apex specifically, like resetting accounts when Rhythmic has issues. So giving them the benefit of the doubt, I certainly hope that would be the case. But that would also be a lot of customer support resources for days and days to try to straighten that all out. So we'll see. All right, so we got a wick on that bar. So now it lies on this next rollover bar here, about 1:50 out from the close of this one. Again, this wick here kind of renders that continuation sequence a little bit less strong for me, so I can't take that entry. So we'll see how this bar plays out. So we're breaking that. The channel that was potentially developing, this descending channel, is now clearly broken. All right, this one here. That's why we wait for 3 touch points, right? So now I'm really waiting for either this to turn into an ascending channel that I can limit order scalp, or ideally a continuation sequence. 2 to 3 consecutive growing bull bars with the entry bar closing near its high, then I buy the rollover. Bear's trying to get this reversion here. You know, the interesting thing about this, you guys see this, the range on these bars is still 100 plus points. And these look like about 15 point range bars in comparison, right? So volatility, listen, I wouldn't be trading with 7 point stops here today still. I mean, this volatility is nuts, so don't be afraid. Size down, widen out the ratio if you need to. Would you feel that a 136 point stop and 160 point take profit would fall into improper risk management? New to the paid account rules? Also, what if I take profit sooner than the 40? Sooner than the 40, if you don't mind me asking. I'm not sure what you mean sooner than 40. You said 160 point take profit sooner than 40? You mean if you end up if you go with 136 stop? It's all about the ratio, Christopher. So if you're trading Apex, let's say you have a 100 point stop to make the numbers easy. Apex does not want you risking any more than a 5-to-1 risk reward ratio. Okay, so that means that in a funded account, what you never want to do is take a profit that's less equal to or less than a fifth of your risk. Okay, so I think the minimum that you're going to run consistently should be more like 4-to-1 if you're going to trade negative reward to risk, just because commissions and stuff. You don't want to trade 5-to-1 and then end up below that because commissions. Andrew, if you were trying to learn from day one, what would you do without buying a course? I don't sell a course, so I wouldn't do that. You need to trade small, trade very small, trade 1 micro, and trade a lot. Then log your data. You shouldn't just be taking random buys and sells. Come up with setups that you look at and you're like, well, I think there's at least a few % statistical edge in that setup. I think that would work slightly more often than it doesn't. Trade it very small. Log all the data. And then nights and weekends, you look at the data, you say, okay, did that setup work? After you have 50 to 100 trades under your belt. This is why you're trading small, because most of them aren't going to work. Then you find one that works, you add it to your official playbook. Repeat 2 to 3 times. Now you have 2, 3, 4, 5 setups that work for you. Then trade, start sizing up. That's the only answer. The answer is not You know, trade this one setup and you'll get rich. It's making a mockery of this profession. Yeah, those bars, they look like 30-point bars. Those are 100-point plus bars, by the way. Ron, lost 350 today on my Apex PA. Hope they cancel today. Still not too bad of a loss. That's not too bad. A lot of people probably blew up today. Still looking for that continuation setup. If I can get consecutive, clean, growing bull bars closing near the high, again, buy the rollover. But we could also be seeing the early stages of an ascending channel forming. Need my 3 touch points. If we get that, then I'll start to limit order scalp. Here we go, getting a test of the upside of this channel. Again, this is just second touch point. See if that ends up breaking. All right, all comes down to this bar. Let's see if we end up putting in a second touch point or a continuation sequence. I prefer a continuation sequence. If you're new here, guys, please subscribe to the channel. I'm live every morning, 8:15 a.m. Central. I'm sorry, market is clearly seeing this channel. But again, I wait for my 3 touch points just to put myself in the probability range that I like to be in. However, in order for this to prove an actual rejection and let me log it as a second touch point, I would need it to pull back a little closer to that 20 EMA, so it's not a mushy rejection, right? Mushy rejections they tend to break at a higher probability than an actual rejection, or I should say lead to higher probability breaks, which makes my channel trade a lower probability, which I'm not into. Clark, appreciate you. All right, there we are, getting a pullback. I prefer to see multi-candle channels where we're not seeing like one candle testing the bottom and the next candle tests the top. Those tend to get a little choppy. I prefer to see at least 2 in each downside / upside move. So honestly, my preference today would be more continuation sequences, but have to trade what the market gives me. Again, keep in mind, guys, at any moment we could see some kind of news. Now, again, there was a fake news headline earlier that caused that over 1,000-point move in less than 10 minutes. That Trump was considering a 90-day pause on all tariffs except for China. The White House came out and said that was fake. Fake news headline, that was engineered. Somebody got extremely rich in about 10 minutes. But we could end up seeing, listen, with the reaction that the market had to that headline, it wouldn't surprise me entirely to see that become a real headline, something of that nature, and that could hit randomly. So just keep that in mind. Make sure your risk is managed here today, ideally using live stop orders, because we could see this thing move quickly out of nowhere. On your ATR indicator, is the yellow or blue the ATR? The blue is the ATR, the yellow is the range of the current 2-minute bar. All All right, now here we are testing the 20 EMA on the 2 minute. Market looks calm, but believe me, it's not. Look at that range, right? Don't just look at the size of the candles. You got to look at the point range. 115 points on this bar. If you threw, now for context, this bar here, right? You see those wicks? Looks like a small, relatively controlled bar, right? Range 115 points. If you put this bar into like a week and a half ago, if you stuck this bar into this time slot a week and a half ago, it would be massive. Okay, so keep that in mind. Make sure you're paying attention to your risk. Attempting a downside break of the 20 on the 2 here. See that? Coming in for a test of the 20 on the 5. By the way, listen, if you need some accounts, Apex 50% off single day pass. Use code BIG. It will always give you the best deal, no matter what day you use it. It'll always be single day pass. It'll always be the highest percentage off that they're offering. That's BIG, B-I-G. Still waiting to see if we break downside through this 20 on the 2. And then again, a test on the 20 on the 5 would not surprise me at all. We're likely to see that. That is currently sitting down at 17,412-ish. 100 points away. It doesn't look like much, but it is. Have you taken any trades this morning? Yep, we took one trade. Here, 2 minute. I went ahead and bought, I believe it was this candle. I bought the rollover of this candle long for a winner. So we're up 1496.50, I believe, so far. One trade. Still waiting for good sequences to set up here. And again, we're coming in for a test of the 20 EMA on the 5 minute as well. Christopher, appreciate you, brother. There's the retest of the 20 on the 2. That retest is very common. Eric, Nico might need some admin moderating here. I'll let him argue. Look at the 5. See that coming into the 20? 2 minutes, still making a retest here. And this up here is a 2 minute. Just looking for a little sequence here. Not too much in the, well, we actually could, if you guys want to look here, you see this potential second touch point. We could end up with a very wide ascending channel with that 20 on the 2 right smack dab in the middle. Preferably, honestly, I would prefer to see like a continuation sequence. Either direction, I really don't care. At this point, downside would be ideal for me to take some here, take the second trade of the day. Nico, what a wild trading session. Hope you're doing well. Snowballing this account so much and I just paid myself out. Good work. Good work. It's a win on a day like today. And risk management here is going to be everything. Look at the ATR, guys. The blue flag at the bottom, 143. Just under points. What that means is, again, that's the average range of a 2-minute bar. 140 points based on the last 10 2-minute bars. Not all day. That's only based on the last 10. So it's wide. Make sure you're running stops. Keep that risk managed. If you don't think about it and you're just looking at the size of these bars, you're like, oh, it's about a 20-point bar, right? Compared to these. And you buy a mini, that's not a 20-point bar. That's a 70 to 120-point bar. All right, Bulls attempting to take this back upside. You can see here. Never got a real test of the 20 on the 5-minute. That's fine. Yeah, it's not extremely relevant, but I do watch it for context. Trying to reclaim the 20 on the 2. Watch both of them. Nothing wrong with sizing down on a daily today. Saves you commissions. That's a good thing. Saves you chop outs. Let the volatility work for you. If it's there, let it work. Size down. Again, watching for this channel development, see if we can get that. 2 touch points here, 2 touch points here, or some kind of continuation. Downside would be ideal. It's a little bit easier of an entry here today. There we are, testing the bottom. Remember, we could see a headline any moment here. Look, testing the 20 on the 5, breaking through there. There's a move, huh? Look up top, look at the range on this bar, 350 points. Doesn't look like that, does it? It looks like about a 40-point move. That's a 350-point move today. Fed board member speaking, they said tariffs and shortages are important to consider when forecasting what inflation will do. It's not 2022. You know, Fed committee members aren't going to move the market like crazy talking about just inflation. But you throw tariffs in any headline today and you might get a little move. All right, watch this bottom up here. Gonna be some stops in this region here. Look at this 2-minute. Testing those stops now. Let's see if we can get some of those triggering. Nice bounce. Headline, Trump threatens additional 50% tariffs on China. A lot of tariff talk today. Be careful. Headline can hit any moment. All right, don't go anywhere. Back in 2. Call. We're back. Getting a quick little bull recovery here, at least attempting to take it higher. Listen, here's the, yeah, you see that? The test of the 20 on the 5, coming in for a test of the 20 on the 2. it's like live trading with Jerry Springer. All right, the Fed committee member just said some pickup on inflation likely, anticipating tariffs. Maury, good work. If the person who put out that fake news went long or sold off a position that was underwater during that rally, is that a violation? Maybe they took a short up there. Yeah, that fake news headline was absolutely engineered, I would say. And yeah, that's not allowed. All right, still seeing if we can get some kind of sequence set up here. These bounces are soft. Bears are trying to take it lower. Yeah, if we can get 3, it would take 3 for me to enter, but if we get to get 3 consecutive bear bars, I'd sell the rollover. Again, if you're new here, 1 trade so far on the day. We're sitting up 1496 total in terms of P&L. Just 1 trade so far. See if we can grab a second here. Had to deal with volatility errors with data. All right, copy trader is back connected. I feel okay about that with the data that we had, the data problem. and we are ready to rock. So, just looking for a sequence here. Can you guys believe we saw 5% down pre-market, 4% in the green, and now we're sitting almost down 2%? Okay, so it looks, you guys see this, it looks like volatility is coming in. These bars, though, we're still seeing almost 100 points on every bar plus. Keep that in mind, okay? You enter with 1 mini here, and volatility could take you out pretty quickly. It doesn't look like a lot of volatility, but pay attention to that range. Watching this flat bottom. These flat bottoms notoriously weak. These tend to break. Okay, just trading in anticipation of that is not good enough for me, but I will trade a continuation sequence if we get it through that break. Yeah, we're seeing weak bounces. Now, really, I mean, if we kind of just look at what's going on here, we're getting a big pull away, weak bounce, big downside move on a little bit of a headline, right? Now, weak bounce. This flat bottom is, I would say, more probable than it is not to snap. When it does, I want to see a continuation. I can't personally take a short in anticipation of that because who knows how much we're going to bounce around before we even test that. But once we see a test of that, that could be, you know, I mean, you have back here as well, really. That's a big flat bottom. Flat bottoms on the Nasdaq, and flat tops for that matter, the probability tends to just increase with each test that they break. So we'll see if we get that here. I think our Jerry Springer fight in the chat made up, huh? That flat bottom is really tempting fate. All right, let's see a break of that flat bottom. Give me a nice couple consecutive bear bars. And then a good entry bar, and I'll sell that rollover. But not yet, because we, you know, really, I mean, if you look, this is clearly somewhat of a wedge. Right, I mean, we could draw it like this. Peter, what's up? Welcome back. Flat bottom's tempting fate. Just want to see that break ideally and then give me a setup here. However, timing it is where it gets tough. For what it's worth, I had huge issues with the Apex trade copier. I switched to affordable indicators and it has worked perfect so far. I'm actually going to be trying affordable indicators here this week. I also had a lot of problems with the Apex copier. I don't know what it was. It didn't work for me. Anonymous, what about Tradeovate's copier? I've never actually used Tradeovate's copier myself, but I know a lot of people use it, and most people say it's pretty damn good. I've heard a few people having issues, but that's like every copier. Though comparatively, I would say Tradeovate's is probably top 3 from what I hear. Again, I've never used it myself. Well, this wedge, the bulls are trying to take it higher, but that 20 EMA is still in the way. Look, that's the 2-minute chart and on the 5-minute. All right, so we'll see if the bulls can take this higher. I will trade continuation upside if it presents itself, but I want to be clear of all those potential issues first. Just waiting to see if these EMAs can snap up. Would not hate an upside sequence right now. John, plus 700 on the day for me. I'm 100% out of the game until tomorrow. Good work. It's a good day. Christopher, feeling the same. First paid accounts. Thanks to Nico. Cool. Just set on hands for 300, but 300 within a couple hours sitting down drinking coffee is amazing. Damn straight. It's a great day. All right, looking for that continuation setup now. A little bit of a flat top on the 2-minute forming. We'll see if that can snap up. Again, just a heads up, guys, range on these bars has been between 80 and 120 points. These are not, I know they look like it, but these are not 20-point bars. So keep your eye on that. See that? Trying to hold the 20 on the 2. Doing so on the 5, but they're kind of lining up now. You see that? The EMAs? Yeah, the EMAs are not good enough to take trades off of, in my opinion, on their own. So I kind of want them out of the way to give me a continuation of breaks outside of any channel. I don't want the bears thinking they have any channel to go off of. And then, you know, again, 2-3 bull bars consecutive. Jimmy, is he at the stand yet? Yeah, I see it says Trump hosts LA Dodgers. Gonna talk a little bit about tariffs. Is he talking yet? I don't see any headlines coming through yet. Be aware. May see some additional volatility here. All right, see this next bull bar here. We're about 1:45 out from this one closing. This one has me pretty interested in continuation if we can see a nice setup. Okay. What do you use for news? Financial Juice is a good free option for news. You can also pay, but they have a free option. The 17.5, I'd call that a tier 2 level. We're kind of struggling around it right now. We're out of the way now of both those 20 EMAs. Again, here's the 2-minute look, and there's the 5-minute. So right now what I'm really looking for is a continuation setup. On the 2-minute. This bar is going to roll over now. And this next bar will be a tell for us. Catch any good trades on open today? Yeah, I took one trade so far here today, maybe, I don't know, 25 minutes after the bell. And we're currently up 14.96. Looking to grab trade number 2. As soon as it sets up, a lot can change here in a couple of minutes, so I'm not done. right, getting an attempt at a push upside here. Look at this. Likely a few stops in this region here. You see that? Not a ton. It's not an incredibly obvious liquidity point like up here. But there's likely a few stops here. Maybe good for an additional 10 points. I'm kind of watching that. If I can use that for liquidity on an entry, I absolutely will. But I need this bar to clean up. 42 seconds out until the close of this 2-minute bar. Early stages here, this could end up developing into an ascending channel as well. I'd be cool with that. Start scalping the limit order outskirts of the channel with limit orders, I should say. But continuation is still top of mind here for me if we can get one. John, good trade, 130 points. Nice trade. We're seeing that range pull back a little bit now. ATR is at 122. You can see the range of these past few bars have been between like 85 and 170. Really like 80 and 120 is the average range kind of right now. DC, good work. For ATR, I'm using the 10. So it's averaging the last 10 2-minute bars, so about the last 20 minutes. You can see this retest, look at this. We're retesting the 20 on both the 5-minute and the 2-minute. All right, let's see if we can get these bulls pushing us up over these wicks for a bit of a continuation. Again, this region here, I think is good for probably a 10-point pop. As some stops get triggered, we'll see if we can take those out. I don't want to trade that idea on its own, but if we can get a move upside and close right ahead of there, I would certainly take that idea's liquidity for the actual trade. Just looking for a good old continuation sequence here. All right, there's the test of the high. Got no stops sitting right above 17,610. Not a ton of them, by the way. Not nearly as much as will be up here. But a decent liquidity zone. Keeping an eye on that. A little bit of a development. What I'm seeing here is the potential for a bit of an ascending wedge. You see this? Bit of a flat top, ascending wedge. Still early. Still early. And we also still have this flat bottom down here. You look at this 2 minute. That thing was tempting fate. So maybe we end up heading back downside and breaking that. If we do, I'd love to trade downside of that. But in the meantime, just need some kind of setup here. In Take Profit Trader, does your balance carry over from eval to pro, or does it start over? It starts over. Really holding on to that 20 EMA on both the 2 and the 5, I suppose, but more so the 2. Hey Vic, appreciate you. Uh-oh, the wife's in the chat. All right, testing. Here we go, take a look. That's the 20 on both the 5 and the 2 minute, okay? Now we either need to see some kind of channel development for me, or some kind of continuation. Right now, we're in a little bit of chop. We'll see what we can get. Those of you guys just joining us, we took one trade a little earlier. Here, let me show you. Look at this 2 minute. We took one trade a little earlier. We're currently up 1496.50. We took the buy on this roll over here and caught a nice little trade. This then hit the fake headline, which was insane. Engineered, by the way, almost certainly. And then we had data errors. The data errors have now mostly cleaned themselves up. I'm seeing pretty similar data at almost all times between Rhythmic / NinjaTrader and Thinkorswim. So my copy trader is reconnected, and I'm ready to take some setups if we can get some. I'm gonna give up the 20 on the 2. Testing the 20 on the 5. You see this flat top, by the way? The flat top on this 2 minute? I'm watching that. That's actually a very interesting setup. You're about 40 points away. But if you can get a break through this little flat top here and a push up through 17.6, which is a tier 3 level, you do have some stops that can add some liquidity there above that curl. Steam. Nico, can you explain the consecutive bear bar rollover thought process? Okay, so this also goes for bull bars, but this is price action trading, right? So what we're really looking at is what's the market telling us the balance between the bears and the bulls is at the most recent data that we have. And when you get, here, it's actually just very briefly, still paying attention to the current market, obviously. When you get a setup like here, you get bull bar, but kind of a doji, right? Then you get a growing bull bar, but not great yet, but still closed ahead of this wick. Okay, good. Now it's based on this rollover. You get a bull bar closing near the high, and it's growing. What does that tell us in this 6-minute sequence here? We have buyers versus sellers. You have either sellers stepping out, buyers remaining the same, getting stronger in comparison, or you have selling pressure remaining the same, buyers stepping in, most likely it's a mix of both, and the most updated data tells us it's improving. It's improving. Oh, look at that. The most recent data on the rollover is the bulls are taking it, closing it just at the high, very close to the high of that bar. So then I buy that rollover, and we get about a 40-point push to take profit. Same, it makes sense, right? This isn't voodoo magic. This is just data in the price action, buyer-seller balance. Hey, is it 50-50 right now, 51-49, or is the probability more like 54-46 or 55-45? That's really what we're looking at. Still inside of this range. Looking to see if we can get some kind of setup forming here. That box above my head currently, that's the level 1. Here. There's the P&L. Yeah, just one trade so far on the day. 1496.50. It's kind of nuts how we're still seeing an ATR over 100. You can see it peeking out from back there. It's 104. And these bars look like they're about 15 points wide. They're not. They're 60 to 100 points wide. So be careful if you're trading minis. Be careful. Don't base volatility off the way it looks. You gotta look at the range. Pumple, what's up? Yep, one trade so far today. There's the breakdown, up about 1496. That's the noon Eastern time volatility bar. We'll see if we can get this breakdown continuation. You see this little low here. Few stops, not a lot. All right, guys. Well, listen, as you can see in the chat, I got to go eat lunch. So hope you guys have a great rest of the day. I'll see you. I'll do a recap video here this evening. And I'll see you tomorrow morning, 8:15 a.m. Central Time. Live every day. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Use code BIG Apex Take Profit Trader. My favorite two firms at the moment. Both great. Great to mix the two. Obviously, you get those consistent payouts with Take Profit. Apex, you can scale and go big. All right, guys. See you tomorrow morning. Have a good day.